What is going on, everybody? In this video, I'm going to be ranking every single Big 12 quarterback for 2025 from worst to best. I'm going to project the starter for every single team and rank these quarterbacks. Now, I gotta admit, a lot of these Big 12 quarterbacks were very hard to rank because a lot of them play very similar. A lot of them have similar skill sets, and there's a lot of good quarterbacks in the Big 12, so this was a hard ranking to make. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into my Big 12 quarterback rankings for 2025. At the bottom of my rankings at number 16, I have Oklahoma State quarterback Haas Heisney. I don't know if I pronounced that name right, but he should be that starting quarterback next year for OU State, especially with the Doug Meckham following from Fort Worth to Stillwater to handle play calling duties. Haas is a young, talented four-star recruit from the 2024 recruiting cycle, but he is still very unproven after only seeing 15 carries with TCU last year, so I can't rank him any higher. I have him at number 16. At number 15, I have UCF quarterback Dylan Risk. New head coach Scott Frost landed a couple of quarterbacks in Cam Fancher from FAU and also Taven Jackson from Indiana. But Risk is the early favorite to start next season, and he had a solid 2024 season as a redshirt freshman. He threw for 900 yards and 5 touchdowns, and he added 43 yards in limited snaps. His best game was in a 56-12 victory over Arizona, where he passed for nearly 300 yards and 3 scores. He should be an alright quarterback, but I only have him at number 15. At number 14, I have West Virginia quarterback Jalen Henderson. Also watch out for Nico, but Henderson should be that starter. This battle could go deep into spring practice, especially with the new head coach and Rich Rodriguez. Henderson does have the experience. He started his career at Fresno State before transferring to Texas A&M in 2023. He showed promise in 5 games, throwing for 700 yards and 6 scores. He also added 100 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground in 2024. I expect Jalen Henderson to be that guy for West Virginia moving forward. I have him at 14. At number 13, I have Cincinnati quarterback Brendan Sorsby. Sorsby did help Cincinnati's passing game show improvement last season. He threw for 2,800 yards, 18 touchdowns, and he added 447 yards and 9 scores on the ground. They had a solid offense last year and nearly made a bowl game. Brendan Sorsby really helped elevate that offense, but the defense was pretty bad. But that's a positive for Cincinnati to have Brendan Sorsby back. It will at least keep them in the conversation to maybe make a bowl game. But Brendan Sorsby isn't anything crazy. I only have him at 13. At number 12, I have Houston quarterback Connor Wigman. Connor Wigman was a former 5-star that played for Texas A&M. He struggled with injuries, so it was interesting to see him transfer to Houston. They should have a very improved offense next year. Wigman threw for 2,600 yards and 19 touchdowns at Texas A&M from 2022 to 2024. He should really provide a spark for a passing game that was very bad last season. I think Houston is trending in the right direction. They got a good head coach in Willie Fritz. I think Houston will be better next year, and I think Connor Wigman is going to be an upgrade at quarterback. I have him at number 12. At number 11, I have another transfer portal quarterback. I have Kaidon Salter for Colorado. He has massive shoes to fill after Shedeur Sanders is going to the draft and probably going as a top 3 draft pick. But Kaidon Salter has a lot of experience. He's thrown for nearly 6,000 yards and 56 touchdowns, and he's also ran for 2,000 yards and 21 scores over 35 games at Liberty. He took a bit of a step back last year. Maybe he was battling injury, but Kaidon Salter is a talented quarterback. Don't be surprised if he ends up higher on this ranking. But for now, I do have him at number 11. At number 10, I have Arizona quarterback Noah Fifita. Arizona has the potential to get back on the right track with Fifita in 2025. Fifita had a really good 2023 season as a true freshman, but last year it was an up and down season with head coach Brent Brennan. He passed for 2,900 yards and 18 scores, but he also threw 12 interceptions and his completion rate dropped a lot. So Noah Fifita has lost some of that spark. He loses a top receiver to the NFL in Tetairoa McMillan, but he's still a pretty good quarterback. I do have him at number 10. At number 9, I have Utah transfer portal quarterback Devin Dampier. Dampier is one of the top transfer quarterbacks for 2025, and he's a major pickup for that Utah offense. They only averaged 23 points a game last year, and they really struggled on offense over the last 2 seasons. But Dampier had a great season at New Mexico last year, throwing for 2,700 yards and 12 touchdowns. But he's also a massive threat on the ground, adding 1,100 yards and 19 scores on the ground last year. Dampier could be a breakout quarterback for 2025, and he can make this Utah offense dangerous. I do have him at number 9. At number 8, I have Kansas quarterback Jalon Daniels. Daniels missed most of the 2023 season due to back injury. He was projected to be one of the best quarterbacks returning in the nation, but he took a step back last year. Kansas lost Andy Kotelnicki to Penn State. Maybe that made a difference. But it will be interesting to see if Jalon Daniels can get back to playing his best football because he used to be a very good quarterback. He did account for 241 total yards a game and averaged 7.4 yards a snap. So a rebound is likely in 2025, but I do have him at number 8 for now. At number 7, I have Baylor quarterback Sawyer Robertson. Robertson was a breakout quarterback last year. He took over Baylor's starting quarterback job in the 3rd game of last season. He really helped that team improve drastically on offense and lead them to a 9-win season, and Dave Aranda kept his job. Robertson threw for 3,000 yards and 28 touchdowns, and he had 230 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. I don't know if he's going to carry over that spark into next season, but Baylor does return some production. I think he will be one of the better quarterbacks in the Big 12. I have him at number 7. At number 6, I have Texas Tech quarterback Byron Morton. Morton is coming off of his best season at Texas Tech. In 12 games last year, Morton threw for 3,300 yards and 27 touchdowns. He also took a step forward, completing 63% of his passes. He did battle with injury, and he had an off-season shoulder surgery. He is expected to be ready for the 2025 season, though, and he should be one of the top quarterbacks in the Big 12, definitely with some of the production that Texas Tech has coming back. And Texas Tech has one of the top transfer portal classes in the nation. This team is a dark horse to win the Big 12, and Byron Morton is a big quarterback to have back for them, and I do have him at number 6. At number 5, I have TCU quarterback Josh Hoover. Hoover showed potential at the end of the 2023 season with the extended playing time, and that momentum really went into 2024. He threw for just under 4,000 yards and 27 touchdowns to lead a TCU offense that finished 3rd in the Big 12 in scoring. Hoover's 300 passing yards a game ranks 2nd among Big 12 signal callers last fall as well. TCU has a heavy pass offense, but I expect Josh Hoover to get even better next year. TCU returns some pieces, and Josh Hoover is one of the better quarterbacks in the Big 12. And I do have him at number 5. At number 4, I have Kansas State quarterback Avery Johnson. Johnson was a popular breakout pick for 2025, and he definitely lived up to some of the hype last year. He ran for 600 yards and 7 touchdowns. He also passed for 2,700 yards and 25 scores. Kansas State may have underperformed a bit, but the offense was not the problem. Avery Johnson wasn't the problem. Avery Johnson was one of the better quarterbacks in the Big 12, and he tied for 4th among conference quarterbacks with 10 completions of 40-plus yards, and he was a threat on the ground. He will be heading into his 2nd year as a starter for Kansas State. I expect Chris Klieman to get this team back on the right track and maybe make the Big 12 championship game. And they got themselves a really good dual threat quarterback returning in Avery Johnson. I have him at number 4. At number 3, I have Iowa State quarterback Rocco Becht. He's posted back-to-back really solid seasons as Iowa State's number 1 quarterback, and he has big potential next year. In 27 starts over the last 2 years, he threw for 6,600 yards and 48 touchdowns. He also completed over 60% of his throws. He will be losing 2 talented NFL wide receivers, but Iowa State having a quarterback and Rocco Becht back is huge, and they added some pieces through the portal. I think Rocco Becht will be a top quarterback in the Big 12. I have him at number 3. Now, as we head into my top 2, I think they're kind of 1A and 1B, but at number 2, I actually decided to go with Sam Leavitt from Arizona State. This may be a hot take, and some people would probably have Sam Leavitt at number 1, but the guy I have above him, I'm really high on, and I think he's being slept on. But regardless, Sam Leavitt's one of the better returning quarterbacks in the nation. I have him at number 2. He really had a breakout season in 2024 after transferring to Arizona State. He threw for 2,800 yards and 24 touchdowns and added 443 yards on the ground with 5 scores. He will be losing his running back in Cam Scatterbo to the NFL, so a lot more pressure is going to be on Sam Leavitt. But he has an elite wide receiver back in Jordan Tyson. Sam Leavitt should have a massive 2025 season, and I do have him at number 2. And at number 1, I have BYU quarterback Jake Retzlaff. I honestly think he might be the most underrated quarterback in the nation. He emerged as a top quarterback last year. It was his first full year as the team starter. He nearly led BYU to a Big 12 title appearance, but he did struggle with injuries nearing the end of the season, and it really held that offense back. But he did throw for 2,900 yards and 20 touchdowns, rushing for 400 yards and 6 scores. He's got incredible grit and determination in his game, and I really think he's going to be a breakout quarterback next year. He tied for second among Big 12 signal callers with 6 completions of 50-plus yards in 2024. BYU returned some massive pieces next year. And I honestly think Jake Retzlaff is the best returning quarterback in the Big 12. I expect him to have a big year, and I do have him at number 1. But anyways, that is going to do it for my 2025 Big 12 quarterback rankings. You guys let me know what your rankings would look like down in the comments below. But let me remind you guys to like the video and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you'll love this channel because we upload a ton of college football content and we basically cover everything on this channel. So definitely consider subscribing and also consider checking out my socials down in the description below. But that is going to do it, guys, and peace out.